Irene Kiwia is my guest today for this new episode of Wisdom Personified, Conversations with Dudu Msomi. Irene is from Tanzania, but is at home in any country in Africa as she grows her Pan-African empire. I first met Irene in 2010 in the US, where we were nominated as 35 emerging women leaders from various parts of the world to participate in the Fortune US State Department Global Women Mentoring Program, where we were matched with women CEOs and executive leaders from Fortune 500 companies to be our mentors over a 4-week period. Her beautiful looks may initially draw you in, but her heart and her mind are what keep you for a lifetime. My friend, it's so great to have you in South Africa. How are you doing?
I am so excited to be here. Oh, beautiful, beautiful country. I love it.
And a beautiful day.
And a beautiful day, and look at that.
Look at that view. So you were born in Arusha, Tanzania. Mm-hmm. What was your childhood like? What did you do in your spare time?
Wow. So I was born in Arusha, and then very early on when I was 3, we moved to Dar es Salaam, which is the capital.
We remember
economy.
that one, yeah.
Well, the economic capital of Tanzania.
Yeah.
And so I grew up there. I went to school in Tanzania. My childhood was very dramatic because my parents separated when I was 3. By the time we got to Dar es Salaam, I remember my parents separating, and it was quite a bit of drama.
Yeah.
Where my dad left the country, went to study in Japan.
Wow.
And then my mom took me and my sister to her grandparents in Kilimanjaro.
Okay.
Which is
the one that still needs to be climbed.
I know, right? Well, I'm just happy to look at it. I'm not going up that mountain. Yes, and then when my father finished studying in Japan, I was around 5. He came to take me and my sister, and he was married to a Japanese woman. So my childhood was filled with Japanese culture memories. Yes.
How have those impacted you?
Wow, I think in so many ways, because I had a very dark childhood. My stepmom didn't like me. So she was really horrible, like evil stepmother plus.
Wow.
And I remember spending a lot of my time, just going inward and creating a beautiful life for myself, because
which
my
you're
reality,
living now.
Yeah, absolutely, because my reality was just really, really harsh. And my father was very busy, so he didn't have time. He didn't really understand or knew what was happening. And I was very scared and very afraid to tell anyone. So it was a lot of beating, a lot of, evil, ill treatment. I was made to drink toilet water. I was made to eat food from a dog's plate, that type of evil. So, yeah, I was very happy to be in school, for the few hours during the day.
So did you learn Japanese?
I did, but I don't remember most of it, because by the time I was 14, that relationship ended, so life got back to.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's part and parcel of my history and who I am. So.
But we love who you are.
I love who I am. I love who I am.
So you're the co-founder and chief growth officer of
Adanian Labs.
Yes. Which is a tech venture studio for African startups.
Absolutely.
What does Adanian Labs do?
So we say we're in the business of building camels, right?
Okay.
And we're doing that intentionally by investing and nurturing African entrepreneurs and African innovation. We want to truly be active in the actuation of the fourth industrial revolution. Mm-hmm. We don't want to stand on the side and say, okay, there has been a fourth industrial revolution.
Yep.
But wait a minute, where are the Africans in it, right?
Again.
Yeah, again. And this revolution is very important because we've missed out in so many things in the past, but it gives us a chance to change the narrative and to change the trajectory of the continent. So it's a very important one.
Yeah.
And we are headquartered in Kenya. We have a presence in 5 countries, and what we do is we give pre-seed investment to entrepreneurs, but also work with them for a year to ensure that they build technology that is scalable and that can compete globally, and they have all the resources they need so they can go to market and they can access a borderless Africa. Because, you know, for us as Africans, we believe the opportunity is in the 1.3 billion people.
We're going back to our roots.
Yes.
Borderless Africa.
Borderless
And
Africa.
the beginning of civilization.
Absolutely.
Because we were the ones that bore that civilization. But
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
So what is the best advice you've ever received? And what did it say and from whom?
Okay, can I say 2?
Yeah. If you have to. Yeah.
So one of the first really mind-blowing advice that I received that truly, you know, lays out everything that I do is, I think it was one of my early age mentors who said, Irene, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Yeah.
And
Alice in Wonderland.
no, but I didn't hear it from Alice in
I
Wonderland.
know.
I heard it from one of my mentors, and I really took time to reflect what it meant. And he said, well, if you don't have any destinations, it means if you get out of here and you get in a car and you end up in Durban, you would have arrived because you had no destination.
Yeah.
So that really changed my life, because I started looking at things from, okay, where do I want to be in 10 years? Where do I want to be in 20 years? Where do I want to be at the end of my life? And then what do I need to do to get there? So it also helps me a lot in terms of direction, because it's like my true north.
Yeah.
Every opportunity I meet, the people I meet, you know, you look at it, are they going to help me get there? Are they a part of, you know, that movement or not? So that's one. And the second one that I really, really, really love, you know, it's, I think I read it in a book, I actually don't remember where I got it from, but it said, just when the butterfly thought life was over, it became, no, just when the caterpillar thought life was over, it became a butterfly. So from that, I always take challenges like, yo, welcome Mr. Challenge.
Transformation.
What's next? Because we're going to do this. So I don't look at failure as failure. I don't look at challenges as, oh, I've arrived, this is where I need to be, I'm stuck. So, and I think those 2 mottos have been a big driving force in my life.
Because out of the ashes rose the phoenix.
Absolutely, yes.
You've been leading and driving your career since you were a student at DAR. As a broadcast producer for East Africa Television and IPP Media. And later on, you became an entrepreneur at 25. What about your upbringing has made you so fearless and a visionary?
Wow. So, because when I was at school, at university, and I'm talking about 2000 to 2004, when I was doing my first degree at the University of Dar es Salaam, I think I was one of the first students who had like 4 jobs going on and still studying. I was a TV producer and presenter at IPP Media. I had a gig in town, you know, working for a PR company. During the weekends, I used to do promotions for FMCG companies. And during Saturdays and Sundays, I was a makeup artist. So I feel like I always was enterprising.
That's your affinity with Tara. House of Tara International.
Exactly.
Okay.
and at that time, being a makeup artist was not a thing, right? So it was quite new. So I did that because I wanted to learn and I wanted to create a different life for myself. Like I just felt like I had so much to give and so much to learn. And you know, trying all those different things while being in school and doing well at school, you know, truly gave me a good foundation to everything else that I did later. But you asked about my childhood, that made me fearless. Just surviving a hostile stepmother and a hostile environment and still wanting to come out of it, you know, from a positive perspective and not being a victim, rather being a hero of, okay, I have gone through this, great, what's the lesson, how do I move forward, so I'm truly fearless in that perspective, because the years that I spent in my head as a child fantasizing and creating a fantastic world where I was this hero going around the world and doing amazing things, you know, which feels like something that I'm currently doing. It truly,
You're living it.
Yes, I'm living it. It unclogged any fear that I would have had.
It's a great lesson there, great wisdom. You have a bachelor's degree in international relations,
yes,
and public administration, and an MBA.
Yes.
But a number of your ventures have been in the technology space. What wisdom will you share about how you go about building a tech venture when you're not an ICT specialist, and also gain the credibility in the eyes of your staff and customers as a business leader?
So, I, like you said, I studied international relations, and then I went on to set up a PR and marketing company. And I had to learn on the job, and you know, experience is the best teacher in life. And by the time I was evolving into technology, which has been very recent, 2019 is when truly that shift started. I used my talents in communication and marketing. I know and I understand that I'm not a developer. I cannot program. I don't have that knowledge, but what I know is how to communicate. It's how to market. It's how to build businesses, because you know I've always been an entrepreneur. It's how to spot talent. It's how to collaborate, and those are very important aspects of building and running any businesses. And you know, you work with people, right? So when you think about technology, it's just an enabler. It's just a road. You know, at the end of the day, what's the destination? What are you trying to build or achieve? And then, you know, the things that you don't understand, you bring in people who understand. I'm also very lucky to have found co-founders who have great knowledge in things that I don't have knowledge in. One of the co-founders is our CTO, is a tech guru. And thanks to him, we're able to build technology that can compete globally anytime. And the other co-founder is absolutely fantastic in unlocking new opportunities and in new markets, which has allowed us to scale very quick. So I am really good at communicating, at marketing, at building, structuring, at creating processes. So that's what I focus in.
Yeah. So it's always key in terms of the types of partners you choose.
Types of partners, the type of talent you bring on board, but also being open to learning. I mean, 2.5 years ago, if you asked me about things like blockchain or artificial intelligence, I would have said, oh, a block and a chain. What is that? But then, you know, I have learned so much. You know, there is so much resource online. You know, I spend time. I'm intentional about wanting to understand these things. Now I can speak on a panel about blockchain and what it can do and how it can be implemented. But it's been that investment that I want to understand this. I want to be, you know, if it's my business, so I'm making it my business to understand. Yeah.
So like cybersecurity, just working on a masterclass for that.
Yes.
Because people just don't understand why everybody should be interested in cybersecurity.
And when you hear words like that, the first thing is, gosh, not for me.
Yeah,
but its application is so critical in our everyday lives. Yeah.
What is the one wisdom you have learned about yourself and the world that you will tell your 16-year-old self?
So I would tell 16-year-old Irene that she is multifaceted. She cannot put herself, and she should not put herself in a box, you know, where she feels stuck just because, you know, she thinks this is her path and her only option. There is options in everything that we do. Options in terms of career, options in terms of situation. So, and the world is a very big place, We should not be confined in a space that does not promote our growth. And it's out there to be explored, whether it's mental or physical or career or a business area. It's a big world. I don't need to be, just because I started running this type of business, I don't need to stick with that type of business forever, just because that's how I'm identified as. So I would tell Irene to be adventurous and open-minded, and be bold to truly explore the world in its full sense.
It's I mean, it's amazing how much exposure helps in terms of creating a different destiny than what you think you
Yes.
would have.
Yes.
We're just talking about that with somebody, which is why it's always my passion, whether it's young kids or mentees.
Yes.
Exposure, suddenly what you think you could do
Absolutely.
is suddenly so different.
Because we're not what our past is.
Yeah.
We're not where we are today. We are who we want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also that little voice in our heads. If you haven't been exposed,
Yes.
you don't get to crack it open.
Absolutely.
But what do you think your unique value proposition is? If you were not here tomorrow, how would the world be poorer without you in it?
So, wow, Dudu, that's a very powerful question. So, my unique value proposition is my ability to see the potential in people. When I meet people, when I interact with people, I don't see them for where and who they are now. I see their capabilities, I see their potential, and I'm extremely gifted in helping them unlock all of that and become, that person that they're meant to be or they're aspiring to be. So for me, that is mentorship, for a lack of a better word. And I think that is why I was so motivated to build a mentorship platform so that women can access mentors, guidance. And I actually also am gifted in being able to see the world from a curve, before. So I'm always building for the future. I'm always thinking about, okay, where am I going to be 20 years from now, 30 years from now, but how am I going to impact the world 30 years from now so that I can do that today? And I think the work that we're doing today, for example, with Adanian Labs and my passion in building capacity for women and young people is exactly that, where is Africa going to be at, 2040? And what must we do today? Not just talk, but truly do, so that that world becomes a vision or a reality of the vision that we have today. Yeah. So there will be a huge space when I'm gone. Joking.
There could be. Have you ever found yourself in a situation, whether at work or in love, when you suppressed a huge part of your personality or character, where you felt if you expressed that part of yourself, you would not receive the prestige or you will not retain a relationship? What did you suppress and how did you find the confidence to change that status quo? And what have the repercussions been from that decision?
Yeah, wow. So I became an entrepreneur very early on in my life. Yeah, so I graduated from university. I was 24, and I started my company, Frontline Management, and we were focusing on public relations, media, and marketing. So I was very young, and at that point, I had just been in the beauty industry. So I was a former Ms Tanzania alumni, and then I was on TV. Yeah, so to be able to successfully build a credible business and be taken serious, I had to become a different person. So I didn't have the luxury of showcasing my femininity and youthfulness in a way that a normal 24-year-old would. I first of all shaved my hair so that I don't bring any attention to myself. And
yet you still looked cute.
I
Very
did,
unfair.
right?
Yes.
So
it was shorter than this when we met.
It was bold. I went bold in my 20s. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to draw any attention on me. I want people to see me for what I can offer. And then I changed my dress code. So I used to dress very conservative as a young girl. My friends used to tease me all the time. But I also had to change my social relations, right? So I can be taken serious, so that when I'm sitting with a CEO or a director at any company, they are not looking at me as, oh, this hot babe, right? They're looking at me as this person that we can do business with. Was I successful in that? I think so. I think it did help. But in that, it really robbed me of you know, the dramas of being in your 20s. And I think many years later, when the business was successful, and you know, I am a credible and respected person in my industry and in the business sphere, I started, you know, now becoming more myself. I'm able to dress in a way that I feel, you know, I don't care what they think, because I have, you know, I've shown myself
you've
already.
Proven yourself. Yeah.
Yes, I've proven myself. So in my 40s now, I truly am myself 100%, and I think I've learned to understand that, you know, I need to be my authentic self, and the people who need to understand me will understand me, and the people that I love, that I associate with, that I spend my time and I give my love to, will love me for who I am, and that's it. It's all of this, or you can go along.
I totally relate to that, especially as a female in
business. Do you think it's an age thing?
Yeah, but also a female thing, because I found that I decided to detract from the body. Because growing up, there's a lot of focus, cute.
Yes.
You know, it's like
absolutely
great body.
Yes.
And people start focusing on that. And,
yes.
and when you succeed, especially when you're young, I mean, I was already on a board at 28.
Yes.
And things like that. Then they think you're sleeping your way to the top.
Yes. There's
so
also
you try
that notion.
and take attention away from your physical, but it doesn't stop people. If people want to talk, they'll talk. So, you know.
Absolutely. You learn that as you grow older and you own your power.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is a lesson that you have learned that you would like to share with our viewers?
So I'll speak from a business perspective. I have learned, when you do business, especially when you're doing business with friends or family, it's extremely important that there is clarity. You know, we get so excited, and you know, we want to do and build things together, and we forget that everything that we do has value. And in 5 years, in 10 years, that value, you know, will be built. But because we have not put a solid foundation that defines things, you know, things end up being sticky and messy, and friendships end up being broken, relationships end up being broken. But for me, I have learned that a business is an entity of its own. Whichever party I'm getting into business with, whether it's my partner, my sister, my friend, we need to have the structures and processes and the legalities in place, so that no matter what happens, things can be well mitigated and well handled.
Yeah. And you speak from experience?
I'm speaking from experience, yes.
To be repeated and not to be repeated?
Never to be repeated, because currently, whatever business I do, I make sure that everybody that I'm partnering with understands, you know, and we're on the same page and we're aligned, and there is 100% clarity. Nothing is lost in translation, but also being open and honest about issues when they come up, and not being afraid to speak, because any relationship, you know, the biggest issue becomes the communication, where someone feels like this is not right, or I'm not happy, but they're not able to say it. So I've learned to be extremely open with my feelings, with my sentiments, and also in how I address things and I deal with things.
So you are divorced. This could be interpreted as failing in the love arena. As someone who has the tenacity to grit and succeed through any business challenge, how did this perceived failure in your personal life impact your perception of yourself and the business life, if at all?
So this will be the first time I ever talk about my my relationship situations, right? So I was in a very long-term relationship for 15 years with my ex, who is also the father of my kids. And the transition from that relationship was very challenging emotionally, because, you know, for 15 years with someone, your entire life is built around them. Your future is built with them attached. So for me, you know, first of all, just being able to recognize that things were not serving us anymore in the way that we hoped for, and being able to elevate ourselves from that situation, was quite a big success, right? And we did it in a way that was extremely respectful. We were, and I guess maybe it's because we had a very strong foundation of friendship. But so I can't say it was a failure. I think, we have just evolved into a new type of relationship where we're still raising our children and we're supporting each other and we're there for each other. And the world evolves, it moves. And I'm glad that things happened in the way that they happened. And I can't say it's a failure. And I think women need, especially women, because mostly it's women who look at these things and think, oh, I have failed. What have you failed? I have actually succeeded to build a family, and I have succeeded to continue to grow this family. The circumstances are not the same, but the success is there, right? So we need to look at these things from a different perspective and stop being hard on ourselves, but also look at the bigger picture and go out of our way if we need to make sure that we create that bigger picture. Like, we don't succumb to bitterness and evilness and all these fights that create so much.
Kids
yes, they create
fight.
So much issues. Yeah. So being adults about these things. Yeah, they do happen. There's nothing we can do about that. But how we handle everything is what is in our powers.
Do you still have a bucket list that you wish to accomplish in the business environment?
A bucket list?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to say abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely.
You can say that, yeah.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
So, when I think about the work that I'm doing today and what we've accomplished so far, and it's still very early days, for me, my vision is creating smart tech cities in key markets across Africa that contribute to 20-30% of the GDPs of those regions, and truly integrating technology in those regions, having centers of excellence in different fields and sectors, and centers of knowledge, so that we can continue to build capacity. So the transition of what we're doing for me is that smart tech cities in 5 regions in Africa, where we truly transform regional technologies.
And the regions are at the moment?
So East, West, South, North, Central.
And North, have you been to the North yet?
So we are currently in East Africa, Southern of Africa, and West Africa. Next year, we're looking to go into Northern Africa and Central Africa.
Which country are you hoping?
Starting from Egypt.
Okay.
Yeah, so which would complete, our big 4 of the most.
Going back to our roots again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So for me, that's how I see it. I want in 2035, 2040 to truly look back, if I'm still alive, and see that tangible impact, and being able to cut it as a slice and eat it to see how we have empowered so many young people and they're contributing to their communities. We have built solutions that are transforming lives, and we have created a whole economy around technology that is truly uplifting the economy of the continent.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Amen.
So we can chat the whole time.
Yes.
But we need to cut this.
Already?
Yeah.
Why? I thought we just got started.
I thought so too. But before that, any regrets?
I mean, there's always moments of reflection where you think back and you're like, I could have done this better. I could have handled this better. But I think one of the things I've learned is just to being able to graciously not regret and just take the lessons and move forward and truly do better in the moving forward. I feel I have been truly blessed in my life to be able to have the courage to go after the things that I believe in. It's not been easy. I always say...
Sometimes you do make it look easy.
I'm telling you. I always say if there's a straight road, that this is the main road and everybody's going through it. From when I was a child, I have never been on that straight road. I have always been on the side road, always. but somehow
You managed to get into the main road.
No, not necessarily.
Really?
But it seems like I'm on the main road, but maybe I'm just close enough.
Maybe
but
your perception of it, but people looking outside
Yes.
look at you. So
But-
maybe you should stop looking at yourself as being on the side road, because you are actually on the main road.
No, when I say the side road, I mean, the way society says, okay, so my childhood, for example, it's not your typical story where, you grow up, you have a stepmother who happens to be Japanese and, she is evil and you have to survive that. And then you go to high school and you're kicked out of high school. And then you go to, there's always been obstacles and massive obstacles. So that's why I gave it that perspective to say I'm always not doing the norm. Not that it's bad, but
it's part of your.
It's part of my
your
journey. It is part of my journey, and I've loved to embrace it. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to be able to venture through that side
and make it look effortless, because I think that people looking at you think it's effortless, but it's not.
It's not. It's absolutely not. But it's very intentional, very, very intentional, and I love being on that path.
To end our conversation, what wisdom would you like to leave us with?
So I would say, and maybe this is the season that I'm in. So I sometimes sound like a broken record, but I will say, I want Africans today who are watching this to remember that we are the generation that has been tasked with an opportunity to change things for the next multiple generations to come. We are in a time where the fourth industrial revolution is taking place. It's a revolution of technology, it's of data. If we don't do the right things, to recover from this might take, I don't know how many other 1,000 years. So we need to do the right things. Wherever we are, whether we're in government, we need to make sure that we create the right policies, and we need to think about 50 years from now, 100 years from now. We need to think like that. If we're in business, what processes and structures and what are we doing? How are we building the things we're building so that they can create that sustainability? And if we're in community and society, how are we preparing our communities and societies? So we need to, for the first time, think about that long-term effect. Think about that future so that we do the right things today.
We need to have audacious ambition as Africans.
Yes.
Which I think we lack.
Yes.
And understand that we're not who we are.
And I feel like sometimes our problem is we just think about our current existence, where we don't think about our children.
It's the monetary.
We don't think about our grandchildren. And it's reflected also in how we structure our families, in our legacies. So we need to stop thinking like that and think about 100 years from now.
Generational.
Yes.
It's about immediate gratification.
Absolutely.
Immediate gratification should be, I'm building a great foundation for the next generation.
Absolutely. I want to build a company that will last 120 years, so that my great grandkids can say grandma rocked.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But also what I admire about you is this cross-border thinking, which more of us as Africans, South Africans should do.
Yes.
To not depend just on government opening doors, but for us to start getting into East Africa, West Africa.
Yes. And governments will follow. When governments look outside and they see, oh my God, they're already doing business, they're already doing the things we've been talking about, they will follow. And for me, I am so excited to be here in South Africa because we have built an infrastructure in 5 countries in Africa, and we are truly intentional and looking forward to supporting African entrepreneurs so that they can access Africa without having to worry about they don't know someone or they don't have the resources. If there is a successful business here in South Africa that is looking to go to Nigeria, how can we give it the soft landing, open doors, and give them that testing ground? And for us to succeed, for us to build anything tangible for this continent, we need to act, think, be, and evolve in a borderless Africa manner. Yeah.
And use your communication skills to understand. I'm glad that you in South Africa, understanding that xenophobia is not xenophobia.
Yes.
It's people fighting for economic liberation.
Yes.
And they happen to go for the low-hanging fruit.
Which is,
which
the
is
lack of opportunities that we think is
which
presented.
is not xenophobia, and we must stop using that word. And
Absolutely.
I'm hoping you will help me spread that word,
And
my
you
friend.
will. I have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
I have a lot to learn, and I'm glad I have a soft landing myself.
Yeah.
Where I'm going to unpack all of those things with you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure, Dudu. Thank you so much.
Wisdom is wealth. Hope you have enjoyed this powerhouse from East Africa, and that this conversation has inspired you. If you would like to receive notifications when we have a new episode on our YouTube channel, click on the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so that you are the first to know. Until next time, on Wisdom Personified, Conversations with Dudu Msomi.